Hello everybody and welcome. mikeymegamega here with another how to draw tutorial. This time we're going to be drawing emotional anime eyes. Awesome, yes. So loads of feedback again from the last couple of tutorials I've done, which are about the basic building blocks of an anime character. Thank you very much for your feedback on that. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and most of you guys said, you want tutorials on this, that, and the other. The majority said you wanted an anime eyes tutorial. So if you hate anime and you hate drawing eyes, this video isn't for you. But if you watch it all the way through, basically it's from your suggestion. So thank you very much. As you'll notice on here, I've pre-drawn a few example heads on which we're going to draw some eyes. And what I wanted to do is, instead of just doing standard anime eyes, because there's loads of tutorials around on there, which are brilliant, check them out. I'm going to be doing eyes and talking about what really gives them loads of emotion, so that when you draw your anime characters, they're going to have some real punch and it's going to grab people's attention, which is, half of the fun. Right, so as ever, I've got some plain paper, some hands, very useful, super cheap mechanical pencil that we've covered a few episodes ago because I'm too lazy to sharpen a normal HB, and a rubber in case I cock up, and a camera phone that you're looking through there. So we're going to crack on, but again, it's a real-time tutorial, so I'd really encourage you guys to have a go at home and keep pace, and I'd love to hear what you come up with at the end of this. Right, so I'm going to go through kind of 3 basic steps, standard anime eye the way I like them, and why I'm drawing them that way. Then I'm going to talk a bit more about reflections in eyes and how that's really, really important. And then we're going to just basically go all out and draw something super, super emotional, maybe like something a little bit tearful at the end. Who knows? Let's just crack on. So, anime eyes on head number 1 that I've drawn in here. First thing I always like to do is start to mark out where I'm going to have the top of the eye. So just for kind of bit where the eyelid itself covers the eye, and maybe if I just start to draw a line here, and I'm going to keep my working lines quite dark so that they show up on a camera phone, and try to make sure I've got it evened out. Let's put another one in here because I'm trying to get a fair amount of emotion in these eyes. These are going to be kind of eyebrows up kind of eyes, maybe surprised, maybe intrigued. These aren't going to be suspicious looking eyes that are all tight and closed. With female characters, keep them really big, keep them really cute if you can. So here's the tops. I kind of roughly like where they are, and I'm going to do another line which is much shorter to represent the bottom of the eyes, and really this is talking about where the eyelashes might be in this kind of character. So a little bit dark, yeah, just a little bit over here. Excellent stuff. So what I'm going to do is where these eyelashes are kind of high, they're also actually going to drop straight down here. Now you might wonder why I've got 2 lines here, but these are actually going to become the eyelashes themselves as they shoot off, and that's all going to make sense as we go along. And then I'm going to drop down here, and maybe on this one, this is going to kind of come down a little bit like so, and we might just hook back a little bit here. Right, so this is kind of roughly the top, and this kind of hood thing or make shape that we're going to draw above it. But what I'm going to go straight into is drawing the eyes themselves. So if you imagine this whole white area of the human eye is called the sclera, I think, or sclera, not sure how you pronounce it. And now we're going to draw in the iris, which is, the really important part that gives you the right idea. Now on human eyes, you'll notice, obviously, the iris is round, as is the pupil. On anime eyes, you can get away with making them more into ellipses. That tends to be quite popular, especially with the female characters. Not so much with the men's, unless you're kind of doing a real kind of, what's the word, like a drama anime instead. Then they tend to be all shiny as well, because the girls like that kind of thing. Ah, kawaii. So, another one here. Let's go ellipse. Everyone loves ellipses when drawing eyes. So this is the iris. The bit of the eye that holds all the colour, as you'll know, and basically kind of contracts to draw the lens in the middle of the eye that's over the pupil to make it thicker and thinner for focusing, which is knowledge. Okay, and then let's draw in some pupils as well. Because I'm drawing these into elliptical eyes, I'm also going to be drawing elliptical pupils to match the shape. Couldn't do a circle in there. Loads of people, or like loads of popular anime, do sort of more humanized circle eyes, and I recommend it personally. They're really stunning things in some people's works. Loads of stuff on YouTube that I recommend you check out. So anyway, you're kind of seeing where this is in place. I'm happy with the placement of these eyes. So what I'm going to quickly do is get rid of this human face guideline that we got in there. You're ugly. Go away. Bloody love having rubbers. Excellent stuff. And what I'm going to do before I get into the eyes is going to talk really, really briefly about the bits around them. What you might want to do is have a kind of hood for where the eye itself, or the top of the eyelid, tucks back into the face, like so. Maybe one here, like so. And that's a very thin, faint line. You're not really going to want to get people's attention on there. So I hope that shows up on the camera phone. And then I'm going to chuck a few cheeky eyebrows up there as well. I say a few, that would actually be really weird if she had 3. So I'm going to put a couple up there instead. One there, and then kind of one there. Excellent stuff. It's not going to be perfect because my tutorials never are. It's going to be a bit of a rough and ready thing, but it will give you the idea. Right, so let's get to the important parts. Once I've got the eyes in place and I know where they're looking, I'm actually going to focus on the eyelashes themselves first, because making these dark and heavy is really going to firstly make it look very effeminate, and it's going to add the right kind of weight to the character. So, cheeky nose somewhere in there so we know what we're looking at, and then let's get busy with this. So, I'm going to make this really thick and be really confident with what I'm doing here, because it's a great shot. I'm going to make sure the tips of everything I draw here end in points, because this is kind of like a dark makeup-y eyelash sort of thing. So I'm going to make this line really thick and heavy, and where it comes off here, just going to make that into a nice eyelash point. Maybe another one there. Can I get away with another? Lovely. Right, done there. And then one that comes off here. And then I don't have straight on eyelashes. These, if you imagine, are too perfectly aligned. So I'm going to start flicking eyelashes off the side here, off the side there as well. The biggest one is always on the outside edge of the eye, and that kind of marks like the heaviest eyelashes and when they're coming off. Then we're going to do the same thing on the inside here, and then just kind of show that there's some eyelashes coming off at an angle just on the inside there. Lovely jobs. So I'm going to focus on this eye as I talk about it, and then we'll kind of speed through this eye as a duplicate, and everything will make sense for you. Right, so back on the eye itself. What is really important about drawing anime eyes, as far as I'm concerned, is they've got to reflect light. So if I started just colouring this in and making this all one plain colour, there'd be no life to it. And essentially that's how I draw a corpse, or maybe put a fly in it as well to indicate that it's dead. What's really important with anime eyes is they're reflecting light, and they're showing a bit of life. Eyes are, of course, windows to the soul. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of draw a circle here, which is going to be a reflected dot of light in whatever the character's looking at. And then I'm going to kind of draw another one here that overlaps a pupil. Trust me, this stuff is excellent when it's all coloured in or shaded. And then what I like to do is kind of have another area as well. So part 2 for me is going to be down here. Then all I have to do is mirror it in the other eye, which I always like to kind of get out of the way whilst I'm drawing these circles, so that they're as similar as possible. And then another one down here. And these bits that I've now marked in, these are going to stay perfectly white. And doing that is going to show that it's a really bright spot on the eye that reflects everything. So I'm going to quickly rub up that bit there, and also do that there. You start to get the idea already. Excellent stuff. So the mikeymegamega way of doing this is that my next step is to outline the iris and outline these spots of light quite heavily with the pencil. So I'm starting with the outside of the circle of the iris, just like so. And then now this outline is going to follow in with the points of light more heavily than it does the actual outside of the rest of the iris shape or the ellipse. Just like so. Excellent stuff. And then my next step is to outline a pupil as well, because this is going to be nice and dark, and then the iris is going to hold all the colour, or at least in this instance it's going to hold all the shading. So there we go, nice and simple like that. Colour in the pupil black. Do 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 do. Lovely jubbly. And then we're going to talk about the actual iris itself. Now there's loads of techniques to make the iris really beautiful, really interesting, and we're going to cover them in the next two examples we've got further down the page. This one is all about the simple example I like to do, and that is start just shading it in. Give it a kind of grey if you're just using your pencils or a pen. Go really heavy and dark at the top, and then as you come down, just get lighter and lighter. Just like so. And then a little bit down here as well. This is a HB mechanical pencil, but it is in fact really, really soft for a HB, so I'd call it more of a 2B. And there you go, really simple like that. I've done nothing special, I haven't drawn any lines in to represent kind of beautiful patterns you get in the Irish, I should say, in the Irish, yeah, they've got good patterns as well, the whole race. But just start with darker and move down to lighter, and that gives you the idea there. So what I'm going to quickly do is just fill in the other side, quickly time-lapse that, and then we'll crack on with the next example. Alright, excellent. So that's our first basic example. Now we're going to move on to a slightly more complicated one. You know how we've got the basic framework of the eyes, which is brilliant, and now I'm going to talk a little bit more about adding interesting elements to the iris, which is a colourful area, and also adding more and more light reflections as well to make the eye ever so slightly more glassy and a little bit more full of depth and character. So this particular sample head we've got here is a little bit more side on, and the reason why I put this head on a bit of a sideways angle is because it's also going to be an opportunity to talk about a slightly fuller eye, which we'll have here, and a slightly more compacted eye, which we're going to have over on this side. So let's start with that. Again, I'm going to go straight in without much explanation and start to define where I want the hood of the eye to be. So again, nice, gentle, elliptical shape. And then I'm going to mark off the bottom here. And then with this eye, it's a slightly wider version. So maybe I'm going to have the hood kind of come over here this time. And keep this line fairly level. The bottom of the eye is going to be round about here. So with this eye here, I'm going to draw another nice, great big elliptical shape, like so. And then on this eye, because it's a little bit foreshortened, it's a little bit more off in the distance, this eye is going to be a touch thinner, the elliptical shape, and I'm going to bring it in a little bit more to the right hand side because it's kind of going to tuck in a little bit more from the angle that we're looking at it. So it's going to be a bit more like that, so to speak. Hope that makes sense. Lovely. And then again, quick lines to mark out the hood of the eye, and maybe we'll have some eyebrows up here and somewhere up here. Let's not worry about them too much. And the hood of this eye as well is going to just tuck in there. So once again, crack straight on. I'm going to get rid of these working lines because you now understand basically which way the head is facing. These are just there so that it's kind of clear to see exactly what direction I'm trying to put everything in. So let's go ahead with this character. We'll plonk him a nose in somewhere, maybe around about here. Awesome. Just so you know where that is. And they're going to have like the top of the mouth just over there, so you kind of maybe understand it as a slightly fuller character. Rightio, so I'm going to crack straight on. We're going to make the hood a little bit thicker, just as before, so, or not the hood, the top of the eye I should say. So this is going to be thick with eyelashes. Now this right hand side is going to be tucked in a little bit against the face. So we're not going to have loads of eyelashes come off there. We'll make it nice and thick as we go around the top, like so. And again, I apologise that this is so rough and ready basically. And then on this side as it tucks down, all the eyelashes are going to be coming off a little bit more over here because the eyelashes are off a bit more of an angle to the side, which is great. So we get to just do it like so. Now on these eyes, you'll remember that I said this is going to be the longest eyelash because this is off at an angle. This is also foreshortened, so it's a little bit more stumpy, so to speak. But don't be scared about making these things nice and heavy. And voila, really, really simple stuff. Just going to turn this hood kind of line into something a little bit more definite. It's actually going to follow the eye a bit further down there. And then under this side, let's go ahead and make these lines a little bit thicker as well. Something kind of like so. And just a few bits coming off. Right, so this side we're going to do the very basic bits again that I'd mentioned before. So here's our iris ellipse. Then we're going to pop in our pupil. And you'll notice the pupil, I've actually brought that a little bit to the right hand side as well. And that's because this whole eye we're seeing at a slight angle. And the pupil's kind of set further back in. It's really crazy stuff, but it does actually make sense and work out when you're drawing it. So if it looks a bit off center, that's on purpose. Hopefully it's going to look better and make sense as we go along. Once again, I want to do 2 light reflections, and you can do these bad boys wherever you want to. Just have fun with it. We're going to have a big one up here to make it nice and glassy. I'm going to have another one down here. Again, I'm going to have one that kind of goes across at the opposite side. That's sort of a rule. Make sure it runs through the pupil. So we're going to have this one down here. And now I'm actually going to have another couple little ones right over the glassy bit of the pupil itself. Yeah, that's right, going big. So once again, I'm going to mark the outline, nice and heavy, this is how I like it, of the iris itself. Mark that bit there. This is actually going to have a little patch in here that's also going to be notable because of where these bits of lights are. And then up around here. Follow it all the way around. This is like one of those children's school things where there's a magic pencil and it goes up and down and all around. Let's not reminisce. I'm old, so I remember these things. And then around here. And again, this time as well, I'm going to mark these nice and darkly. Then the pupil. Lovely. And again, the pupil itself is going to be black. No light gets bounced off here. All the light goes into the eyeball itself where it's trapped and converted into electrical signals all the way to the brain. Isn't the world a wonderful place? Cool. Now, what I want to talk about in terms of making this a bit more detailed and interesting is that we're going to be able to add some markings to represent the iris. And to do this, I have got a super cheapo pack of pencils. Yes, this is probably the first bit of colouring that I've ever done in years. So you would have thought that I would have got these pencils and done a test run beforehand. But I am not that clever, so this might go terribly wrong straight away. Let's make these eyes. So these are green. Oh, these are nice, aren't they? Excellent, that'll do. And we're going to start off darker and go to lighter as usual. But what we're also going to be doing is kind of marking off how the iris itself has all these different flecks. So if I'm going to focus on having it a lighter green, I'm going to use these darker green pencils to actually mark off lines like this. All of them pointing into the pupil. We go like that. Make these little M's for Mikey, why not? Like so, coming in here. And this is really going to add some kind of rhythm and definition. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this darker screen that we've got here and start colouring in at the top. And then I'm going to just start to ease off as we come down. Well, it's a good thing these leads haven't all broken, otherwise this video would be a total disaster. Then I've got my next screen along. This is also quite dark, so I'm going to go straight into this lighter one. Excellent, like so. And then now, what I'm going to do is right about here, I'm actually going to leave a kind of semicircle of light, where this is going to be another overall horizon line reflection. It won't make much sense, it's really difficult to describe. Basically, I'm going to leave it white there, over the eye, and white there as well. And then continue colouring that in. Awesome. So let's go back with this green. Bring these darker bits down a little bit. Lovely. Like so. And then with my pencil still, I'm going to see if I can just really bring that down into a nice dark shade. Yeah, that just about works. So, doing pencil over colouring pencil. I don't know what the rules are for this, so totally making this up as I go along. But that kind of gets the idea across, I like to think. Let's blend that in a bit more green. Like so. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Let's have a quick check through the camera phone. Yeah, you kind of get the idea. Lovely. So again, we're going to have a sped up version on the right hand side, which is a little bit fuller because you can see this eye a little bit more straight on. And then we'll crack on with another example. All right.
I turn my head to the sky, focus wide and thought at a time. I do not like the little things under my tongue, but sleep. It couldn't be a longer time.
And voila, so you get the basic idea there as well. Again, winning no awards, but it's kind of a point about how the colour's darker at the top and it goes into lighter shades as it goes down. And again, slightly glassier look because we've got more light reflections going on. Right, so we're going to crack on with our third example once I just reposition the camera phone. And this time we're going to have it with some tears as well to kind of get super glassy, super emo kind of stuff going on. Okay, so the last example I'm going to do, we're going to have a slightly more tilted back face. And this time we're going to follow the bits we've picked up before. Darker at the top and then lighter towards the bottom. Loads of light reflections in the eyes. And this time we're going to add in some teardrops as well to really have like an emotional anime character. So again, as usual, just going to start marking in the hoods of the eyes. These eyes are going to be slightly more closed because they're kind of basically in the act of not quite openly crying, but like really, really tearful, really close to the edge. So let's have the top of it there, hood there, and then I'm going to have really kind of arched up eyebrows. So they start off low because the face is slightly scrunched up. They're still going to go off high because it's a sad emotion. And then we're going to come off here, I think. Normally I'd be moving the paper around all the time when I'm drawing my curves. But I have to keep it nice and still for the camera phone, which means I'm moving around just out of shot all the time. Like a weirdo. Also, you're watching this tutorial, which is great. But right now, when I'm actually making this tutorial, it's just me talking to myself in my room. So, normal for a tutorial, weird for a person in real life. Let's do the bottom of the eyes here. That's about a good kind of distance that these eyes are going to be closed up. So, with these ones, obviously we've been doing these kind of elliptical shapes. As the eye closes up, it's like a trick of the light, but it almost squeezes into more of a circle. So it's still a little bit elliptoid, but this is getting circled out a little bit, slightly more rounder, you'll notice. Again, I'm doing everything much darker than I normally would in real life, just so that it shows up on the camera phone. These would be really light guidelines, usually. Just rub out those things, you know where this face is, you know where it's pointing. And again, let's quickly pop in a nose. And then, because it's tearful, we're going to have like a crying, hey, Yusuke, come back. Something like that, sort of, you know, poor girl, she's just realised the love of her life is joining another university off in a different part of Japan. And it's really, you know, it's hard times, poor girl. What are you going to do about it? Nothing, just draw it. That's what I'm going to do. So, once again, we've got the basic framework lined out. We're going to go and follow the exact kind of same pattern of the eyes that we've done before. But we're going to change just a couple of things. Essentially, because these eyes are going to be really glassy and watery, there's going to be kind of a trick of the light that happens just along the bottom area here. And the way that's going to affect what we're doing is that when I put in this pupil, which, make it about that big, it's a little bit too large, I've started off, like so, I'm actually just going to slightly flatten the pupil out as well, just because it's not going to look quite right in the light. Oh, actually, having said that, let's just change the shape of this a little bit. That is looking a little bit creepy otherwise. Okay, this, trust me, will make more sense when we finished it off. I'm going to probably have a massive teardrop around about here. Maybe it's even going to be just like, you know, turning into a bit of a ting. Ooh. Yeah, we'll see if that works. And the same on this side. So I'm going to have a little kind of tear bead here. And then this one quite hasn't broken either. Nice and big like so. And then on this side as well, we're just going to be slightly flattened here. Then we're going to have the pupil like that. Right, so these shapes look really, really weird, I appreciate, but I'm going to actually just fill this in now with the bits of the eye, and it's going to just completely alter where the eye itself is looking and how it's built up. I think I've repeated myself from the last two, but again, I'm going to keep it really rough and ready as we build up the idea of what I'm trying to get across to you guys. So, nice and heavy because it's got really thick eyelashes, maybe even thicker than usual, because so much emotion going on. So teary. Every tough times, you don't know what it's like. My God. Poor girl. Such a cruel world. And then we're going to pop some eyelashes in at the top here. Here, and then kind of here. Get one going just up there where this kind of line comes off. Then others off there. And then what I'm going to do is obviously go up to the edge of where there's going to be a teardrop here. Make this fairly thick because we're looking from underneath it this time. Bring the line up here. And I'm just going to change what I do inside of where I'm going to have this teardrop. So I'm going to outline this a bit more concretely, so to speak. And then down there. And the way we kind of mark out the teardrop is this is also going to be full of reflected light. So the bottom edge of this tear is going to reflect a load of light here, and probably there as well. We're then going to just kick back into how we're going to put areas of reflected light on the eyes. So I'm going to go for a little double bubble up here, double bubble, double trouble, and then I'm going to have one, I'm going to do like a 3-step one that's going to go right across the pupil. 2, 3, because it's just so full of emotion, so glassy and watery. Excellent. So I'm going to cut out this middle bit, so this is all white, and then make these side bits really heavier than ever before, so really thick edge to the iris as we're defining it. And then draw these nice and strong. That's got to be strong. These have got to be quite strong lines, and then this, once again, really well defined. Excellent. So now, as I just fill in this pupil, you'll notice that the pupil looks less crazy and less like wildly out of line with the rest of the eye and the rest of the face. Now we've got all these other elements in, I should say. Boom. Just like that, and then just going to mark off to show how flattened off that is. Excellent stuff. Okay, so this teary area is still going to see through it because it's obviously water, it's tears. Salty, salty tears of shame. And we're going to do that by marking off just parts of this pupil area. That's still in there. That's still a bit sad. There's still going to be some eyelashes, like so, but that is basically it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to mark inside this bit of water, because the very edge of it is going to, for the most part, be white as well, i.e. nothing's going to be particularly filled in. So the way I'm going to just make that stand out is get my really thin slice of rubber and just rub through the bits it's overlapping. Kind of like so. Let's just take the edge off some of those lines a little bit more. Brilliant. And now you've kind of got that idea. So let's pop a couple lashes down. What you'll notice in my sexy anime girls time-lapse videos is I usually have a bit of paper that I use to draw with my hand here, so it's covered. That's what I'm trying to say, because that stops me smudging all the pencil marks. I haven't done it this time. There's smudge everywhere, but it's okay. I'm just trying to teach you a little bit of knowledge, not trying to make something that looks too good. Sweet, so that's that eye done there. And then once again we're going to go in with some pencil colours. Again, this cheapo pack. And first time ever, now we're going to use this blue range it's got going on. So let's take a few of these blues. Oh, let's go nuts. Got really dark mauvey purple in there as well. Oh, big boy action. Right, so start nice and dark at the top. So this dark blue, which is never really dark enough. These pencils are quite light, but they are super cheap. So what are you going to do? Pop that in there. Oh, that lid's broken. Unfortunate, but otherwise fine. And then lighten that up. And then a bit of purple in there. Let's go right at the top. Oh, so exciting. Such rainbow eyes. You can make characters' eyes whatever colour you want. Eyes are amazing. And then let's get this light blue into play. Now I'm doing this little light kind of semicircle thing here again. So let's just make this blue come into this blue. And then even this blue is just going to drop off completely around here. And then same on that side. Drops down to this kind of blue. And then drops off there. And then if I get the darker one back, I'll start to pull it back for some detail in the iris. Like so. Sweet. Okay, so there you go. One more example, kind of gets the point across. I'm going to take this lighter blue here and just really faintly give a bit of edge to this teardrop here, and also a little bit around here. Not going to fill the whole thing in because it's going to look flat like a solid, and that's not what we want. Just enough to let you know, well, obviously, but there's some crying going on. Right, so once again, I'm going to do a very similar thing on this side and speed that up, and then I'll see you guys at the end.
Feel like I am walking blind. I have no arrival time. There are no legs to the side.
Okie dokie, there we go again. Right, so that's your 3 examples, everybody. We've got simple eyes and the basic idea, the basic shapes, then making the iris slightly more interesting. It's not crazy detailed, but gets the basic points across when you're quickly drawing eyes. And then we've got our kind of really emotional kind of eyes here, if you want to get like a load of gravitas into your character. So the tricks are make loads and loads of reflections to make it really glassy, and go dark from top and lighter towards the bottom to kind of give the iris a load of kind of depth and colourful flavour, I guess might even be the word. And then nice big beads for nice teary effect as well. Try not to draw them all out crying. I like it when they're just holding back the tears, only just on the cusp, because that really holds loads of emotion as well. Righty ho, what I'm going to basically do is just clean these up ever so slightly, add in a little bit of hair and some other details, and then we'll call it a day. Lovely, so that gives the eyes a little bit of context. Well, there we go, guys. I hope you found that to be somehow useful. I really do, because it's great getting all these feedback and you guys asking me to do more tutorials. I really enjoy doing them. So if you've liked this video, please click like, and if you'd like to subscribe, then click subscribe. That's simple, really. It will keep you up to date for when I do other tutorials. Well, as usual, feedback and comments welcome. Let me know how you do emotional eyes. I'd love to hear other people's techniques. Share the knowledge. That's really cool. Or just let me know what kind of tutorials you might want to see in the future. Alright, well, I think this has been quite a long video. So if you've stuck it out to the end, well, you're just awesome. That is excellent. And I hope you had a go at home. Alright, see you guys next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.